Hey tractor guys, I have not forgot about you. This video was filmed at my retirement home. Alright guys, this is what it says. And yes, this will be more like a Musty One restoration. It is a snowblower. My boys saw this a couple of 100 yards down the road at a neighbor's. It had free on it. It's a snapper, says it runs. Now, when you get around to here, you can see some stuff has been, let's say, modified there. Got to figure that out. And also, the tag says, has not been used in years. But I'm going to see if I can get this going. The paddles on it look pretty good. See if I can get this going, and this is at my retirement home, and that would come in handy for us. Okay, one thing I just noticed, it's a two-stroke because it's got a mix on there. I don't know what the mixture is, so I'll have to check. And let's take a look and see what the gas smells like. It's been a couple years since we got it on the side of the road, and it says it hasn't been run in years. So let's get that gas cap off, give it a smell, and we'll go from there. It smells a little varnishy. If there's anything in there, let's see if we can get it out. All right, I see there is gas in there. So I'm going to try to use this turbo, I forget what it's called, but see if I can suck the gas out. Now there's just not enough gas in here to use this thing, so I just flip the thing over and dump it out manually. Alright, I just kind of tipped it over, and this is the gas that came out of there. Not a lot. Doesn't look the greatest though. Okay, now let's check a couple other things. Okay, it looks like it's got a switch key, so key switch, and that's not there. So what I'm going to do to get to the wires is take off this top cover, and it looks like I just have to take off 3 bolts from there, and this Torx here, and let's see if that works. I gotta remember, this one's shorter. It goes in the middle. This one's longer, so I gotta remember that. Okay, so that should be easy. 3 of them come off of there, and 2 of them. Oh, there we go. Okay. Okay. Right here and here, there are some bolts on there. You can't see it from the top because it's molded into the plastic. So let's get those off. It's like they're both spinning, so somehow it's broken up in there. Well, actually, it looks like hidden under this sticker is a way to get to that other side of it. So I'll peel back that sticker.
How's it going?
So far so good.
Well, good luck, Mus.
Thank you. Okay, looks like this last Torx there. I don't know if I got, yeah I do, I got Torx. Good go. Fatter one. Well, looks like I'm going to have to take off this lower shroud, and it appears to be either a flat or a Torx, so I'm just going to use the flat. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. Oh, check it out. Okay, look at this, dudes. That key that's supposed to be up in there, here it is. Fantastic. Now I just have to do some mending. All right. Now, let's check it out and see if we can get some spark. Okay, after further review, it looks like if I take off this little bolt from the gas tank, this probably will free up and allow me to get the top shroud off. So let me do that. Allow that to come out. Now let's see if we can take the gas tank with it. All right, let me go plan B. Okay, I see there is two screws, one here, still connecting to plastic, and they are flathead screws, so let's get those out. There we go. Okay. There we go. Now we got access to what I'm looking for, which is that spark plug real easily, and we'll see if it's got spark. Okay, here she is. Wow, that spark plug doesn't look too bad. Okay, now let's see if we can get some spark out of this thing. See if there's any life in her. As a little side note, when I was a kid, I was the mean kid to my brothers and sisters. And one of the things I would do is ask my little brother for his help. And then when he'd come over to help, I'd have him hold the spark plug for me. And then I'd give it a nice little pull, shock him. I was a bad kid. Don't do that. All right, so let's start off with a little pull there. First of all, it's free. Oh, there is spark. But it's kind of weak. Let me see if... Yeah, it's a weak. It's got spark, but it's weak. Now let me see what the key in the other position does. Nothing. So that key does work. So my son's getting some two-stroke oil. We'll see if we can get this baby fired up. Well, so far I'm kind of shocked on this thing, guys, in the sense of the things on here are standard. They're not metric. So that's odd, because usually in America we have a hodgepodge mix. Okay, anyway, we'll take off the float bowl here. Oh, there's some petrified gas coming out. Alrighty, it's not too bad in there, just that old gas. There's no big chunks, so that's good. Float seems like it's working. Alright. It's back on. Get some fresh gas in it. See if we can make her run. Okay, got a little bit of premix. Dribble a little bit down in the cylinder here. All right. Okay. Come on over here and give this a pull. Now be careful, don't. Oh, give it a pull. It's gonna work. I'm musty one in this thing, boys and girls.
Might be decarburetor.
Okay, let's play best ball.
Okay. Let's play that ball. Let's see how far.
Well, I think I may have found the problem with this. Nope, it's easy to see. I think those threads are chewy. Can't get this plug-in straight. So I think that may be our problem. Okay, there is gas in it. Alright, so I'm going to put her back in here. I'm not sure what I'm going to do from here. I can't keep it running, but I think that carb needs to be cleaned. And that head, the spark plug's in there, but that is a little chewy as well. So I'll have to think about what I'm going to do with this, but at least it does run, and I'll try to figure out where to go from there. Okay, back at it. And I thought since this was a Torx here, that the mounting bolt back there was Torx, but that one's is a hex. So I'm going to get this thing off of here, removing those hex nuts down in there that hold this carburetor on. Okay, now that both of these are loose, time to pull this baby up. Let's see what's holding it is that Z-bend. Okay. So back here, that Z-bend, I got to get that off of there, and then this thing should come loose. Alrighty, there she is. And I got that. Guys are telling me nightmares about losing that thing, so I'll try to keep a good hold of that so I don't have to pull something else off. I'll put a piece of tape on it to hold it out of there. Well, here she is. Now I'm going to get this cleaned up. Hopefully get this baby running again. Okay. Now that I got the carb off, I'm looking at this head. It doesn't look like it'd be too difficult to get off. I got a thread chaser, and if you put grease on it, get it started down right in there, you can clean it out. But I know the threads on the back side are good, so if I tap it from the other side, or actually chase it from the other side, that should get it cleaned up. So I'm going to pull off this and see about pulling that head off. Well, the cylinder wall looks great, but there's carbon on the top of the piston and on the head. Okay, that's obviously not the right one, so this has to be the right one. So we'll start it in here, and we'll drive it through just to show you how chewy. Those are really chewy. I might have to do an insert in there, but I'll try it by chasing it first and seeing if chasing it will fix it. Okay, so it is started in well. Now we'll go ahead and run that down through there. Okay, so that's got the threads chased, and I know it's straight on how it's supposed to be because I came in from the back side. You could do it, like I said, with it on with the head still on, but I had access to the head, so I wanted to make sure I didn't mess it up. And okay, let's see now how this goes in. The spark plug's in there straight now. It's all the way in, and I'm gonna put it back on. Now guys, if I were at home and I had all my, this is my retirement home, if I were in my regular home with all my tools, I would clean up that, but I don't have the stuff to do it with. But this was going in at an angle, and you can see now it's going in straight. So it takes about 2 or 3 threads down there before it engages, but I got it down there. It's solid, it's tight, and I'll go ahead and put that back on, and we'll go from there. Okay, so I'm just gonna cinch these back down. Right now I'm just gonna snug them up. Like I said, I don't have all my tools here. What I will do is try to look up the torque spec on this motor, and if I can find it, I'll bring back my torque wrench and torque these to that spec. If not, then what I'll do is a star pattern, and I will do what we call in America German torque. I'll just make sure it's good and tight. And how tight that is, and it might need to be tightened up a tad. Got a little bit of play in it when it's there, so I think I'll take that and tighten that baby up. Let's see, that's with it pulled. Got a little bit of slack there, so I'm going to tighten that up some. Well, I moved that up some, and now when I do that, see, I really tighten that up. So that's gonna be good. So I decided to clean the outside of the carburetor before sticking it inside of the carb cleaner. And I'm just using some brake cleaner on the outside of it. Now, I'm no expert, but this looks a little bit weird to me, that usually when I see on YouTube where guys have that, there's something down there that they screw out. Now I'm going to have to go look this up because there's no, I guess the main jet they have in there. There's nothing like that in there. Maybe this is a different type of carb, but that looks a little weird to me from what I've seen online. So I'll look that up. But what I'm going to do is take this thing apart so I can get it into the carb cleaner. Well, as I take a look at these parts, none of them look horrible. I think that the fresh gas that I ran through it did some cleaning. At least it looks like it has cleaned the inside of the float bowl, and it's probably cleaned up a couple other things. But now I just need to do some cleaning on the internal parts. Well, I noticed a spring, and I hate springs. And yes, it took me a while to get it back together with that spring. Well, there weren't too many unpleasant surprises getting this thing apart, and now we just need to get it in the carb cleaner. Now this carb cleaner that I have is the stuff that I bought when I was working on my tractor. And it's still left, so I'm going to give it a shot. That's my vibratory tumbler, and I'm doing a ultrasonic cleaner Jaster style. And honestly, guys, I only did that for a couple of minutes. And it says leave it in here for 20 minutes, and I left it in there for a couple hours. Now that I have it out of the cleaner, it says to rinse with water, but I think I'll just rinse it with this carb cleaner that I have. Everything cleaned up very well. I just need to go look at how that spring was on here. So let me go look at that and figure out how to get this spring back on here and get this thing back together. But this took a while to get back on here. Needle and seat. Yeah, I had to go look at some videos and look back just to figure out how that went back together. Now that screw that I'm putting in right now is why it didn't have the kind that they take out with a screwdriver on the main jet. Now this is the third week back at the retirement home, and I brought some stuff to do some cleaning and hopefully get this thing back together and running. Many of the YouTube channels show cleaning the carbon off with WD-40, and I thought I had some, but I didn't, so I used some other stuff. It's just a little 2-stroke oil and gas. I'm just going to let that sit on there a while and see if that'll loosen it up. Now I let it sit for about a half hour, and now I'm going to come out and try to scrub it a little bit. Now I didn't have any WD-40, but I thought it's a penetrant. Let's see if that works. And it does work, but it takes a lot of time and elbow grease. Now, this is probably not the best thing to use, but I used Purple Power on the head, and it cleaned up things really nice. And then I sprayed it with that rust penetrant. All right, this is as clean as I could get that baby, but that's fairly clean. I got a torque wrench. We're going to get this torqued up. Got me a new spark plug, and it looks like it's gapped correctly. We'll put that new one in here. See how this goes. I put some fresh 50-to-1 and fresh premium gasoline. I filled up the float with it, the carburetor bowl, and let's see if it'll work. Give it a couple of primes. Choke that baby. Let's see what happens. Oh, key. There we go. Key's on. Okay, let's try that again. and girls, we got us a nice running snowblower. Now let's clean out that gas tank and continue on. Okay, I hooked the gas line back up and put some gas in the tank. See if she'll go. Everybody likes a cold start, so let's do a quick cold start on this thing. Now, I have not figured out how many times to prime it and whether it likes choke or no choke in this weather yet. All right. Just like Mr. Pete says, his neighbor always turns the lawnmower on when he starts to film. It's amazing how often that happens. It's just a coincidence. But anyway, I'm probably going to have to voice this over. But what's going on here is I am going to give my take on plastic welding. Now, I don't have a plastic welder. I'm just going to use my soldering gun and seeing if I can get this plastic back together. I tried it with super glue, it didn't stick. So now I'm going to try it with a little bit more force. Okay. Here. Look, that might work there, ladies and germs. I'm going to do the back side too, and I'm going to see if I can find the rest of the plastic here. Now the keyhole part was messed up, and so I took some plastic, and this by plastic I tried to melt this, and it does melt. So what I'm going to do is use this for the keyhole, and I'm going to use this as like filler rod on the back of here to weld that onto here real solidly. That's yikes. Well, I'll just weld it on the back side of this. I didn't put any of that plastic filler in there, but my goodness, this is a nice solid weld. Now this is where I intend to use this little plastic piece here for the key switch. I'm trying to figure out what's the best way of going about this. Whether it come from the front or behind. So I'm going to try to figure this out. Now what I have to do is measure, fit, cut, measure, fit, cut many times. Finally got it to where I can start welding it in. Well, unfortunately, my GoPro fell and chipped the lens. Didn't have it in the case for the first time. Knocked it over and broke it on the first time without the case. Anyway, that's too bad. Now, it looks like we got something that might work. Oh dear, broke that off. Well, I'll put that back on in a minute. Now I'll try to clean this up a little bit. All right, time to get this puppy back together. So let's see. All right, there's a bend in this shaft here, and I've started to bend it and it's working, so I want to show you what I'm doing. There's a bend here, there's part of the frame, and I'm just tweaking it down. Oh, that's much more better. I think that's acceptable. Yeah, there we go. Got the key in, side guard on, and the thing is I realized that this is missing 2 of the bolts, so I put the one in the middle, and screws that is, one here and one here. I have to go find something to fix that. But I'm going to put on the bottom plate here, and we're almost together. I almost forgot, before I get that chute on, there are 2 more screws go in here. Well, here she is. I'm going to put some tape over that. That kind of looks like a little bit of a hack job, but it's welded in there, plastic welded that is, and looks pretty good. Cleaned it up. All right. Got us a snowblower. And here she is, guys, $12 later, a running snowblower. Let's see how it works in the snow.